Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you to this session. Hope all of you and your family are safe and doing well. Today, we have Dr. Vivek Mansingh with us, who has very kindly agreed to address us and share some very rich professional lessons. We are confident that we will be highly benefiting from such lessons in our corporate life and your professional lives. So, Dr. Mansingh, a very warm welcome to you from all of us at video.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for agreeing to address us. Really appreciate that. So, just to introduce Dr. Mansingh, Dr. Mansingh is currently at a general partner at Nest, an early stage venture capital fund. In addition, he is also a board member at many large corporations and a leading non-profit organization. Dr. Mansingh has incubated and invested in several startups. Previously, Dr. Mansingh was the president at Cisco, which was a $5 billion group. Before joining Cisco in 2010, he was a country head Dell India R&D Center. He moved to India in 2000 and worked first with Ishoni Networks, which was subsequently acquired by Philips, and later in Portal Software, which was acquired again by Oracle, serving as the managing director. Prior to 2000, Dr. Mansingh was at senior technology and leadership roles in top tech organizations in USA for more than 15 years. Beginning his career as a senior scientist with tech giant Hewlett Packard in California, he moved to Fujitsu in 1991 as a director of marketing and sales based in San Jose. In 1997, he started ATTI at Santa Clara as a founder and CEO. ATTI eventually became R&D division of Avid, which was listed in Fortune magazine's 100 fastest growing companies in USA in 1999. And eventually it was acquired through LBO. He holds 6 US patents. He invented an instrument, patented it, and licensed the technology to a Boston-based company. He has published more than 100 of articles and technical papers and has contributed to 2 books. Dr. Mansingh is a gold medalist from NIT Allahabad. He obtained his PhD from Queen's University, Kingston, Canada, and an EMBA from Stanford University. Dr. Mansingh was listed as an honored professional in Nation's Who's Who for the United States in the year 2000. He is a recipient of Rotary Club's prestigious Paul Harris Fellow Award, Public Relations Council of India's highest Chanakya Innovative Leadership Award, and IT Man of the Year 2016 from Enterprise Connect USA. With this, I request Dr. Mansingh to take over and start your session, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Debashish. Hope you can hear me well.
Yes, Dr. Mansingh.
Okay. Thank you, Debashish, for inviting me. Thank you to all associates of video who have joined this event. Before I begin my presentation, I just would like to make a couple of context clearing things. One, I request you to please put your phones down and in the silent mode. I promise each one of you that in the next 30 minutes, nothing big will change in the world. Number 2 point is that I guarantee that each one of you, no matter at what stage in career you are, you will take 1 or 2 things from this presentation that will enrich your life. While I give my presentation as my story, the key is to show that I am one of you. I am no Ratan Tata, I am no Narayan Murthy. I am just like you, probably have had less privileged background than many of you. So the purpose of telling my story is to show that one of us can also achieve relatively good success in life. So with that, let me start my presentation. Let me share my screen. Okay, can you all see my screen, please?
Yes, please.
Okay, lovely. So the lessons are from my story, and the purpose again, like I said, is that you will be able to relate to it because I am one of you. Before I begin, let me tell you that I really love this quote, and I have always kept it in front of my workspace. Smart people learn from everything and everyone. Average people from their experiences, and stupid people already have all the answers. This is a great reminder that we have to keep learning at every opportunity from every possible person who comes in our life. And if I tell you, as I unfold my story, I have worked with many, many successful people across the world. And one thing in common is that these people who have succeeded so well are all good learners. So learn, learn, learn. That is the message I want to convey. My experiences, as Debashish just described, I have been very fortunate to work with some of the stalwarts. You can see on the top left is Hewlett and Packard. I got a chance to work with them. Then Michael Dell on the top right corner. At the bottom left is John Chambers of Cisco. And the middle, I don't need to introduce him to you, Steve Jobs. And if you can see the chart at the bottom, right, it says the rebirth of cool that you can probably read, but below that it says to Vivek and team, thanks so much for all your help. We couldn't have done without you, signed Steve Jobs. So I worked with Steve as well. So having worked with these phenomenal people, there's a lot of learnings that I will share with you as I go along. As Debashish said, I also have, I'm just moving my screen. It is a bit slow, so bear with me. Yeah. So I have contributed to two books, one German, one American. I have 6 patents. On the top right-hand corner, you see the instrument that I invented. I'll tell you the story about it, and have received many, many awards, including Who's Who of United States and IT Person of the Year 2016 in India. The purpose of these achievements to share with you is to just build some credibility on what capacity am I talking to you. So let's now start. My early life is very, very normal or below normal, whatever you want to call it. Born at Fatehpur, a small town in UP. Went to Government Intermediate College, Hindi medium school at Fatehpur, and then went to NIT Allahabad and graduated in mechanical engineering with a gold medal. Got a scholarship immediately to go to Queen's University in Canada to do my PhD in mechanical engineering. And later on, I did my executive MBA from Stanford and started my career with Hewlett Packard. Okay, now I was 30 years old at that time. And I gave myself a goal at that time that I would like to become financially independent by the age 40, 10 years. And I gave a very good criteria of what that financially independent meant to me. Now, I'm committing to this and I have no means to actually figure everything out. My green card was still not done. I had no money or backing from anyone or India. My wife was a homemaker, so as a single earner, so to say. How do I become financially independent? And this is a lesson I want you to learn. Once I gave myself goal, I actually looked at all the possibilities of what I could do to achieve my goal. And finally, within my constrained resources, I said, okay, the best thing I can do is to invent something and license it to a company and then become financially independent. So once I set up the goal, the means became available. And that is what I was talking to you earlier about. I have invented this instrument within a year of making that a goal, patented it and licensed it to a Boston company, earned royalty on it for 17 years and became financially independent. It is not important what I did here. It's an invention which is very engineering related. You don't need to worry about that. The main point I want to draw is the following. The screen is moving a little slowly, so bear with me. Number one, lesson number one from my life is be goal driven, not opportunity driven. And I have seen this to many, many successful people who I have worked with. They are all goal driven people. So what is the difference? Goal driven is you decide your goal and you figure out how you will achieve it, whether it is for personal goal or it is a corporate goal. The other people are opportunity driven. Unfortunately, these are the people who are in very large numbers or a large percentage. Opportunity driven people are people who will take up a job for 20% higher salary, go and do something that they don't really like, but they will still do it because of certain reasons. So these are opportunity driven people. I took a job because it was paying highest rather than I took a job because it was taking me closer to my goal. So in Q&A, I can answer more questions, but number one lesson I want to share with you, and you will see again and again in my life, I'll be making goals and by the grace of God, achieving them. That is the fun of being goal driven. So lesson number one, be goal driven, not opportunity driven. Number two, be passionate. I love this part when I am live with audience, but again, given that we are talking online, we have to do the best we can. What is passion? Actually, I generally ask the audience, and there are different answers to it, but let me go to the other side of passion. You can obviously look at the definition, but passion is that you are willing to do whatever it takes to achieve the goal you are passionate about. Passion gets results, right? Let me give you a simple example of it. If you take human brain, typically we use very, very small percentage of brain. People say Einstein used 6% of his brain. So you and I can figure out what percentage we are using our brain. Why is that the case? The case is, and I'm simplifying it, oversimplifying it, a large part of our brain actually does not work on logic. It works on emotion. So the logical brain, and all our education system is based on logical brain. We know how to operate, but we really do not know how to operate the large part of the brain, which is run by emotion. Since we have learned logic throughout, we try to actually use logic to turn this brain on, but it doesn't. So what is the way to turn this brain on is an emotion, and that emotion is actually passion. Once you charge this side of the brain, the large part of your brain, you become Aham Brahmasmi, the whole universe starts supporting it to you. Sari kainat koshish karti hai, helps you achieve your goal. That is what happens. This larger part of the brain is much, much more powerful than logical part of the brain. Let me ask you a simple example which will clarify this to you. I generally ask in the live audience, please raise your hand if you have cried in a movie, not because movie is bad, but because you got engaged with the movie. I'm pretty sure at this point, almost 100% people would have raised hands because we all have seen very wonderful movies where we have cried. Now, why are we crying? Where is your logical part of the brain? Is it not telling you that this is just a movie? It will be over in the next 10 minutes. This is all just for our entertainment. Yes, the logical part of the brain is telling you that, but the emotional part of the brain is not listening to that, and you are crying. So the power of this emotional part of the brain is phenomenal, but that can only be charged with an emotion, which is generally passion. And passion can only happen when you have a goal. You can't be passionate about just like anything. You have to be passionate about something, and that is a goal. So lesson number 2 is be passionate about your goal. Lesson number 3 is strive for excellence. And the other part is probably not seen, but and innovate. So let me cover once at a time. Excellence. Any of these topics I can speak for an hour or two. What is excellence and how you achieve it? But I'm just giving you a simple point. There is a 10,000 rule on excellence. You have to do something for 10,000 hours to actually achieve certain level of proficiency in that art or science or work, whatever you are doing. 10,000 hours is really about 7 years of working life. If you are working 9 to 5 and typically 200 days per year. Now, the game changer is if you are passionate about what you do, what happens? Knowingly or unknowingly, you are working 24/7. And then you achieve this 10,000 hours in 450 days. So year and a half, you have achieved certain level of proficiency, excellence in the area that you want to work in. This is very, very, very important, and very important for India, where people think that in 2 years I have worked, now I am ready to move to something else. I completely disagree with that approach. Don't go by the years you have learned. What have you learned in the area that you care about? And then decide when to move and not to move. But excellence is about repeating. Excellence is about, and let me tell you, excellence is, other than our friends and family, anyone we know outside our friends and family, it is because they have achieved certain level of excellence. Whether it's Lata Mangeshkar or Rahul Dravid or Amitabh Bachchan or Narayan Murthy or whoever you look at it, they have achieved certain level of excellence in what they do. Wouldn't you want to do that? So be passionate and in that passion. So have goal driven first, then be passionate, and then strive for excellence and innovation. Why innovation is so important? Because the whole productivity gain in the last 100 or 200 years in the humanity has happened because of innovation. Productivity increase and the related increase in the quality of life and so many other things is because of innovation. So innovate. Innovation is not the word only for engineers to innovate a new equipment or a new instrument or a new algorithm and so on. Innovation to me is about challenging the status quo. Learn the current best practices to whatever you are doing and then improve upon it. And I can tell you that every single person actually can improve upon what they are doing. When I was at Dell, I had a bet with Michael Dell about two things. One, I will make sure that our innovation in Dell India will be higher than any other Asian R&D center. Obviously, Austin is so older and experienced and so on that we can't compare with them. But that was one, and second was that within 5 years I'll produce from Dell India a person who will win Michael Dell Award for innovation. And I succeeded in both because I gave a stretched goal to every single employee of my team in Dell India to make an innovation, invent something. And every single person, whether they worked in documentation or they worked in support or they worked in engineering, were able to invent something. So separate topic, separate discussion, again an hour or two can be spent on that. But it is important that we all innovate, improve upon what you are doing today. Tomorrow you should be doing in a better way. And that approach is what has brought the world to this level. When you innovate, think of an ideal solution and bring your solution as close to it as possible. So if you see a problem, you say, what is the ideal solution to that? Even if it is impractical to implement it, just think about the ideal solution and then come as close to it possible within the constraints that you have. And here you have an innovation. Every innovation is not a patent. Patent is a different thing, but don't worry about patent part. a lot of you are in accounting, a lot of you are in processes. Everywhere improvement and innovation is possible. Once you have an idea, that is good, pursue it. Most people don't pursue good ideas. They talk to one person, their colleague puts them down, and they go to their manager say, yaar busy hai, abhi baad mein baat karte hain, and they forget it. Do not do that. That is the difference between success and failure. So I'll move on because we have to cover a lot of things, but innovation is very, very important, and it is for every single person. And I can tell you stories about it if you later on want. So using these three things the lessons that I shared with you, I became the #1 person in my field in United States in 2000. And that is when I got this honored professional of national who's who of United States. And that is how I got into Steve's team of when he came to Apple second time. And then we basically reinvented Apple. So these lessons that I've shared with you are not a joke. They can produce results that are unimaginable. Okay, then midlife, and suddenly here you see my family, my two sons, my parents. My mother developed kidney problem. We took her to Stanford Hospital there. We were living happily. Stanford Hospital doctor said that she has 6 months to live for various reasons. And that evening, we decided to move back to India. I was CEO. I was earning enormous amount of money. I was living in one of the best places in Silicon Valley called Saratoga. But that evening, I said, okay, I'm going to India. And we all came to India. Thankfully, my family, children, everyone supported, especially my wife, and we landed in India. Some other time, some other story on how I was able to decide that over one evening, while many, many people struggle to do that for years. But I came to India. India, like Debashish said, my journey, I started US-India startup that was bought by Philips. Then I did another US-India startup that was bought by Oracle. And then Michael attracted me to Dell. And after Dell, John Chambers pulled me into Cisco. Here is John Chambers. And on the right side, you will see his book. If I'll just give you 30 seconds to read if you can. But it basically says he would continue to work with me, and he has J2C Ventures and I have Your Nest. We continue to work. Now, what was and then again, I said, IT Man of the Year 2016 by Enterprise Connect USA. How was I able to achieve this success, which was very different than my earlier success in US? That was very different, relying on technology mainly. And now here I have sort of achieved success, but relying on leadership. So lesson number 4 is develop leadership skills, no matter at what level you are. My definition of leadership is ability to motivate yourself and your team towards achieving a goal and getting the best out of you and your team, even in adverse circumstances, is leadership. I'll give you 10 seconds to read it again, but it's a very powerful leadership definition. And I'll tell you why it is so powerful. Because leadership begins with you. The first word is ability to motivate yourself and then your team towards achieving a goal and getting the best out of you and your team. Most people focus on your team rather than yourself. You cannot become a true leader without you becoming someone who walks the talk and so on. So this is my definition of leadership. This is by no means a lesson on leadership. Again, it's a topic that I'm sure you have heard before. I'll just cover a few points in leadership that I find interesting in my experience. So leadership is not just for people at the top of an organization. It is for everyone. And I keep saying this, people with leadership skills move up rapidly to leadership positions. They move because they have leadership skills. So do not wait for developing leadership skills. If you are an individual contributor, if you are a junior person, or you just started a job, start developing leadership skills. You will go up rapidly as you develop these skill sets. Okay, so what are the key leadership skills? And there could be 10 skills and 7 skills and so many things. You can see there are more leadership books in Amazon than you can imagine. But I'll cover just 3-4 points just to sort of highlight my view. One, I have seen a lot of these leaders, whether John Chambers, Steve Jobs, and many of these people are, they have very clear vision of the state of success, whether it applies to them or it applies to their corporation. They know what it is going to look like. And they are not deterred by other people's opinion on that. So have a clear vision of state of success. Like Gandhi says, world steps aside to the person who knows where he or she is heading. The problem is most people do not know where they are heading. So world steps where? So on a personal front or on your corporate or group or whatever you are managing or leading, it is very important for you to know and have a clear vision of state of success. Clear vision galvanizes people. Take the view of Gandhi on Dandi March. He didn't send WhatsApp messages to all these people. Are you coming tomorrow to walk with me? Nothing. He just started walking. He knew where he was going and the rest of the world followed. So please have a clear vision of your state of success. Leaders are likable and earn respect. So I have this line that I keep saying, leaders touch the heart before they ask for a hand. Make sure you do that. Leaders touch the heart before they ask for a hand. Of course, you need to earn respect, and you do that by making sound decisions, admitting your mistakes, and putting what's best for your followers and the organization ahead of your personal goals. Once people see these things in you, they respect you, they like you, and then you evolve into a leader. These are very simple principles. Trust is the hallmark of leadership. And here, General Norman Schwarzkopf is saying, leadership is a potent combination of strategy and character, but if you must be without one, be without the strategy. Character is the hallmark. The bottom quote, when you become a leader, you lose right to think about yourself. That is a very, very strong definition of leadership and leaders. So please understand that people follow you when they see you a human worth following. And that you establish by your value system, by your character, and by walking the talk. Develop knowledge and skills. That is so important. I haven't seen leaders who are hollow succeed beyond a certain level. So competence builds confidence, competence builds respect. You got to know what you are talking about. Develop depth and breadth of knowledge and skills you need to achieve your goals. It is very important. And I have seen over the years, and I have fired and hired people at any level in the organization. And I can tell you there are many people who sometimes by the streak of luck reach the level in an organization where probably they don't belong, and then they don't succeed because you have to have certain basic knowledge and skills. So please work on it. Whether you just started working out of your college or you have been working for 20 years, it doesn't matter. What is the next level or the next level? What is your vision of success? Do you have the knowledge and skills for that level? Just sort of wanting that I want to be a partner, I want to be a vice president and so on. It's not going to happen. It's so simple to actually say, what is the skills and knowledge required to be successful at that level and start developing that. That is in your control. Rest of the things are not. I guarantee you, you will succeed if you do that. Development of skills is actually a lot more complicated and requires a lot of effort. But there is no shortcut. You have to do that. So that was lesson on leadership. Like I said, it was no comprehensive lesson on leadership. It was purely some of the points I wanted to highlight. Now, lesson number 5. Give me just 1 second. You need 4 more gods in life. So one God we all need. Without that, nothing is possible. But 4 more gods. Who are these 4 gods? One, inspirers. People who inspire you. Ratan Tata, Sadhguruji, Rahul Dravid, Narayan Murthy, Michael Dell, John Chambers, whoever inspires you. You have to have some people who inspire you. You have to have some role models. That is the second God. Who you would like to become like. You know, your CEO, your parents, your uncles, your manager, whoever. So you say, oh, this is the person I want to be. That is your role model. Mentors you need, people who can help you get there. Mentors are successful, knowledgeable, compassionate people who have ideally been there, done that. So mentors are people who have seen the road you want to travel. That is an ideal situation. And the second thing is good mentors tell you what you do not want to hear. I mentor a lot of people and literally hundreds and at every level in the organization from my driver's daughter to CEOs of very large corporation. And I can tell you that mentors have to tell you what you do not want to hear. Mentors are not here to just cheer you up and say you are the greatest. They will tell you what you don't want to hear. And books. These are the four gods you need. Books are amazing mentors. And I always say read 50 books in your professional area and propel yourself to the next orbit. Now, let me tell you, if I stop, let's say 10 of you, fairly in junior levels, 1 to 10 year experienced people, and I say who inspires you, you can probably tell me that who inspires you. You may take one of these type of names. If I come to 1 to 3 year of experienced people, if I say who inspires you, they will probably not be able to say as a large percentage. That is the sort of sad part in our nation at this point. Who inspires you? We should tell them right away, right? Then the becomes role model. Even 10 years, 15 years people, experienced people will not be able to rattle immediately that my role model is this. I'm a startup mentor. I tell startups, you need to have a role model. Which company you would like to be when you grow up and why? So we need inspirers, we need role models, we need mentors, and we all can do is read books and read 50 books. So whenever I do that on the live with the live audience, they always say, sir, where do I begin in reading the books? Of course, we want to read. So I don't know where you start, but I'll tell you what I did, right? So here are the books that I read in my various stages in life. My first goal was what? I wanted to be number one in my field in US. Remember that? And I said, okay, what books do I read for that? So I read technical books. I started, my role model was a professor at University of Minnesota, Aviram Bar Cohen, and he was the number one in his area at that point. He became my inspirer. Later on, he became my role model. Later on, he became my colleague, because you start achieving success and you start going up yourself. So first books were technical subject, then innovation for the obvious reasons I explained you, then leadership. So I read about leadership left and right, then entrepreneurship. And again, I read so many books on entrepreneurship. I read about leaders I admire, whether it is John Chambers, Satya Nadella, Narayan Murthy, Nandan Nilekani, Michael Dell, and so on. Every possible book can reach your home in 2 days. Venture capital, I read so many books on venture capital. Spirituality, I read so many books. Number 8 is a $1 trillion coach. This is especially for senior people who are listening to me today. This $1 trillion coach is a book about a coach who coached the top CEOs of Silicon Valley's top companies like Google, Facebook, and so on. Why do they need a coach? Aren't they good themselves? No, they also needed a coach. And this book is written by this coach who is called a $1 trillion coach. And if you see, why does a top tennis player need a coach? Why does a top cricket player need a coach? They all need a coach. Only in professional life, somehow we become so smart that we think we don't need a coach. I personally believe, and it is true with my children as well, that you need coach throughout your life. They may be different people at different type in your different parts of your life, but you need gurus, you need coaches. In financial, I read my books, and then in general management, I read a lot of books. So you don't have to read the books I read. That was not the point of showing this, but you need to read the books that take you in the direction of your goal. Again, if you don't have a goal, none of this is possible. But if you have a goal, you know, okay, this is what I want to be. So whose book should I read? And read 50 books, you will be a different person. Retired at 60. So at 60, when I retired, and this is again for very senior people in the audience who are listening to me, here are the goals I gave myself at the age of 60. For the next 15 years, hopefully God is kind and he gives me the health and strength to achieve these in the next 15 years. What are these? Family, health, and fun. Of course, I deserve it. I have worked very hard for it. But I don't stop there. I'm not playing golf full day. I need to mentor 1,000 people, from CEOs to driver's daughter, like I said earlier. I want to help create 5 unicorns from India in B2B space. The unicorns are startups with billion-dollar market cap. And India has created 30 odd unicorns. I want to create 5 unicorns in the next 5 years. And if I do that, I would have impacted India's GDP by something like 0.1, 0.2%. That is a phenomenal goal, isn't it? Isn't it exciting? And you have to be passionate about it. It gets me out of the bed, because can I do that now? Impact India's GDP by 0.1, 0.2%? And help create 50,000 jobs. I want to create 50,000 jobs in the next 5 years. I want to help 100,000 people through direct intervention, medical, eye, handicapped children, I'll show you in a minute. And I want to impact 10 lakh children through indirect intervention through my association with Janagraha and Dream. These are the non-profits that I work with. So let me walk you through some of that journey. So startup ecosystem, you all know, you are all engaged with startups in one way or the other. We have now very, very healthy startup ecosystem, thousands of startups, many unicorns, tens of billions of dollars funding coming here. And like I said, if we can impact, I can at least want to impact, if we can create 20 unicorns, that's 1% growth of economy. That is a massive goal, and we are working towards that. This is Janagraha. I'm on the board of Janagraha. I have been working with them for close to 20 years. Their initiative called ipaidabribe.com to reduce retail corruption in India. I have been part of that very much. You will enjoy seeing that website. Just go and see ipaidabribe.com, but not right now. 30 countries have copied this model, and this is changing how retail corruption has to be handled over a period. Another Janagraha initiative, I changed my city. This has been launched in Bangalore, Bombay, Pune, many cities. This is about engagement of citizens on civic issues. One reason of why we have in India very pathetic infrastructure and city infrastructure is because our citizens think it is someone else's problem. They don't engage with the issues. And so this platform is for that purpose. This is a hospital I built in my hometown, ICU and the hospital in my mother's name. This is what I meant when I said I want to put, help 100,000 people over the next 10 years through this initiative. These are the handicapped children who are suffering from various handicap things, and I, working with my dad who passed away, have helped 300 children who are walking like us now, who were walking like dogs earlier. These are very unfortunate situations, and once they get well, they get to college, school, marriage, profession, they become productive members of the society. My next project this year is to open an eye hospital in Fatehpur. The work is in progress. Of course, Corona has slowed it down, but it is still moving. I think in the next month or so, I should be able to do that. So, lesson 6, give back. Why? What is in for you? Let me tell you. Forget about what is in for other people. One, it is very, very rewarding. Very rewarding. If at this point in my career, if I look back and say, what is my biggest achievement? Actually, how much money I earned, what places I visited, and so on may not, even my patents and books may not appear in the list. But the fact that 300 children are walking because of our intervention is something to be very proud of. Great way to earn respect in our own eyes. I think we are too much focused on showing other people what we have done rather than saying, do I respect myself as a human being? That is important. The right hand bottom picture is of my father who passed away. But when I look at his life and I say, and I had this discussion with him when he was alive, what I respect him for. Of course, I love him because he's my father and he has done so much for me, but that is love. I have some respect for that as well. But what do I truly respect him for is what he has done for others, not for us. And he and I talked about it quite a bit. And if you ask my children, they will also probably say the same thing, that I respect you for what you have done for others. Apno ke liye to sabhi karte hain, right? So this is very important before it is too late. And I'm not involved with giving back now. I want to tell each one of you, my children who are your age, many of you are very young, they are involved in giving back from the age of their first job. So don't wait for becoming an Azim Premji and then donating billions. Everyone cannot do that. You just participate and do whatever you can at your level. For the people who have been successful, my request to you is give not 1% of time and money. Don't give like a bhiksha. Giving is not that. Give something significant, something that you yourself feel proud of. Do you really get excited by giving something like when you stop a car and you give some 2 rupees, 5 rupees to someone? Do you really feel great about it? No, you don't. So please look at it. Do not give 1% of your time and money. Give something significant. India needs that. Everyone in this call is in the top 1 or 2% of India. 98% of the people need help. We can do that. So lesson number 6, the last lesson I want to share is give back in a significant way and develop respect for yourself. So with that, let me stop and open it for any question and answers that you may have. Many other people, especially young people, can go to my YouTube and type my name and get into lots of videos that can help you, whether startup, whether leadership, whether innovation, many topics. You can get my articles on LinkedIn. You are welcome to join me on LinkedIn as well. So with that, let me stop here. Debashish, you take it from here.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Mansingh. That was, very insightful, very human too, and of course, great learning because you have put so many so important things in such a human way. That's what has touched us. I personally feel. So we have some questions, Dr. Mansingh. The first thing I think. See, you have been in the corporate world for many years. You have been working in different, very large corporations with the large corporate guys all over the world. And so you have come across different kind of professionals, accountants, consultants throughout your journey. Now, with such an enormous experience on your credit, what exactly is your expectation on real value addition that you expect from a consultant or a professional? Like what actually is a value addition that you expect?
Yeah, excellent question, Devashish. Let me answer in two parts. Of course, you become successful by working with people of substance. And people of substance, I mean, substance is defined in many ways. They should have value system, they should have character, they should have leadership skills, they should have some expertise in the area that they are helping others. All of that plays a very significant role. So, and they have to become part of solution, not a part of problem. So many times I'm asked this question that Dr. Mansingh, you have worked with Steve Jobs and John Chambers and all these people, Michael Dell, etc. They are very difficult to work with. How do you work with them? And that is true. They are difficult to work with. But why? Because they are people of conviction. They know where they are going and they don't want you to be irritant. They want you to be part of solution, not part of the problem. So especially in consultants, I have worked with some many phenomenal consultants who are as close to us as our employees in many cases and have much higher respect than in some cases even our employees. So my definition will be, Debashish, become, I should say, not say man of substance, man or woman of substance, where you have a package that you help me solve my problems, but retain your character, retain your value system, retain your whole leadership, and then help me solve my problem. That's the person I need to work with me. Same thing, by the way, applies to employees, but same thing applies to consultants. I always considered consultants as part of my work family.
Understand. That helps. That was very important, because the kind of profession we are in, we don't get that answer all the time, So this expectation coming from you definitely will help us, in a big way. The second thing,
People, just let me clarify one thing. This is very important for your audience.
yeah,
People think consultants are for tactical help.
correct.
That is a very wrong approach from someone who is taking your help, and that is not your focus also. You should become part of the solution over a longer term. That should be your goal.
Understand. Thank you. Second question is, if all of us see around us right now, this is a era of massive disruption, right? Disruption in the business model, so much of digitization, AI, IoT. I was watching, Social Dilemma the other day, which is
Yes,
mind-boggling, no?
yes,
So,
yes.
after, you have Corona, you have new normal, so many things, massive disruptions around us, right? Now, in this time, we have to stay ahead of the competition. We have to stay ahead in terms of leadership skills, right? In all the fronts, right? Now, what exactly, as today's leaders, how the leaders we should get ready to overcome such significant disruptions and changes, and so that we can stay ahead of time, ahead of competition, with a solution oriented mind.
Excellent question again. See, my second slide was about learn, right? You just keep learning, and this is an era of learning, no matter how good you are in what you are. But it goes beyond that. That's a very generic answer. Of course, we have to learn. Of course, we have to be with the technology, with the processes, with the tools, and so on. That is all obvious. Let me tell you the key for there is no way one person today can learn and master all of the things that are happening in the world. It's not possible. So now what do you do? So this is again where goal setting becomes very important, whether it is corporate goal or it is your personal goal. What do you want to be, and what do you or your corporation wants to see itself? What is that? And in that area, again, I'll repeat some of part of my talk. Can you really create some excellence? Can you really innovate in that area? Yeah, that's in slice, not everything. No startup, no large company can actually go and rule the world. That era is gone. Now it is about your slice. Cisco networking, security. Can you be the best in that? And that's what creates a Cisco out of it. Dell, certain area, right? The startups I work with all the time, and I tell startups as well as personal people, define your state of success. Then you figure out what tools and technologies and knowledge and skills you need to reach that goal, and then focus on that. That is the answer to you, because otherwise there's so much happening in the world that you get lost. Also, reading books is very important, because anytime now, 3 years after college, you are obsolete. So there is no purpose in sort of saying that I went to IIT or this or that. That's great. That tells me that you are very bright. What can you do for me today? And I interview in interviews, I ask this question all the time. What is the recent book you have read, especially for senior people? And many people have not read a book, and they take the name because they have heard it, and that interview goes south because obviously they don't know what they are talking about, and so on. So reading we have to encourage. We have to also coach and mentor our people. We cannot just expect them to know everything. So all senior people, I request that they mentor and coach their people, but guide them through. So multiple steps. I have given you a long answer there, Bashish. Define your state of success. Figure out the goals and skills. The skills and knowledge you need to achieve that. Go and equip yourself with knowledge and skills. Read lots of books. Find a mentor who can help you. And this same applies to more or less a corporate leader. If you do all this, I think this is the most amazing opportune time in the world today. So much is changing. Everyone is struggling. So if you are faster than them, you have the feel to yourself. You are running a different race.
Absolutely.
Innovation, don't forget. Innovation is what actually I respect. So in my working life, I have worked with Infosys, Wipro, TCS, etc. And I always kept telling their senior leaders that innovate, innovate, innovate. Don't think you are just servicing us and get done with my things. Innovate. All these things which I talked about, if you can adopt some of that, you will go up like rocket.
Thank you. That's very helpful. The probably the last question we have for you is, in today's audience, a significant number of participants are actually quite young. They are doing internship. They are, pursuing their CA. Some have just joined recently after, qualifying the CA exam. So now all of them, what we see is, there's a dilemma, what to do, whether to stay back in the profession, whether to join industry or to start a business, even if in a small way, or to go abroad or to study MBA. These are the different things keep on bothering because the options are too many today, right? So, and I think eventually some of their careers get a bit impacted from the goals, passion, all this perspective. It's natural, right? So what will be your advice on the guiding factors, that should help them to decide their right career plan?
Thank you. Excellent question, especially for young people who are the future of our country. So very important part. Let me tell you one thing that I used to share with my young college hires at Cisco and Dell. Is what I like in our young people today is the fact that they don't know what is impossible. They are ready for any challenge that comes their way. That is the plus part. The negative part that I see in young people today is that they do not know how much hard work is required to achieve success. They think it is just that easy. It is not easy. Every single person I know who in your eyes is a successful person, whether it's Narayan Murthy or John Chambers or Rahul Dravid, who's my neighbor and a close friend, whoever it is, they have worked their tails off to achieve what they achieve. So first message, it does not answer your question. It is that that good thing is that you don't know what is impossible. Great, keep that spirit alive, but also make sure you work very, very hard in achieving whatever your objective is. Now coming to your question, Debashish, yes, the diversions are too many for young people. I think one fundamental thing I'll tell you, which I tell my children also, don't be driven by your peer. Your peers are, blind leading a blind. It's really, we as a young person, you go and ask your peer what to do, and peer is as blind as you are. So absolutely the wrong person to ask. Even if he or she tries to help you sincerely, they are limited. That's why you need a mentor who can actually help. Yes, the career choices are many. So what should you do? Well, first, I would say, understand what you are passionate about. Do you really passionate about? I am passionate about making a lot of money is not an answer. You can make a lot of money by doing anything well. Let me tell you that. So that is not an answer. Now the question is, assuming you have money, what will you do actually? Would you want to be a partner at BDO? Is that exciting? Or you want to have a fintech company that you want to start, some tax software you want to build, you want to go to US. Too many of these diversions will actually not let you focus, and that is the recipe for disaster. At any point in your life, you should know where you are going, right? If you come to me as a mentor and say, Dr. Mansingh, I want to go to Mysore, I can tell you how to go to Mysore. You come to me and say, I don't know where I want to go, but I want to reach very early. What can I tell you? Go where? Make a left, make a right, everything is right because you are not defining what you need. And that is the problem with a lot of young people. So no harm in picking whatever path excites you. But define that, understand what I have repeated earlier, develop the right skills and knowledge and so on, and go after that passionately and develop excellence in those areas, develop the right skills in leadership, and you will achieve that. Here is the problem though with the young people that they sometimes do if they don't have a mentor. They select a path. First, most people don't select a path. They are every evening, they are discussing with their peers what should they do, and their peers are equally blind. So disaster is actually happening there. But even when a small percentage people can define where they have to go, the moment they fail or they see an obstruction or their manager says, what kind of this BS you have done here? No, I don't like this company, I don't like this manager, I don't like this field, I want to go somewhere else. So let me tell you that I have not seen a person succeeding in life if they have run away from failures. You need to take failures in stride and win over them, even if you do not do that later on. But at that moment, you have to defeat that fear and then go and define whatever you want. The world is upon you. I tell my children, you can literally achieve anything at this point. This is such a wonderful time in your life. But if you don't do it properly, the negatives are so many that you can also not go anywhere and waste your life.
Yeah. Perfect. So thank you so much, Dr. Mansingh. Those are all really helpful for all of us and extremely enlightening. So now I request our CEO of Video India, Mr. Milind Kothari, to say a few words and conclude the session. Milind, over to you, please.
So thank you, Dr. Mansingh. It has been a delight to have you with us today. We are really amazed at your achievements, which are extraordinary. And there are so many lessons that you imparted, which are very simple, grounded, and without a doubt, very valuable as well, I think, I would say. And I remember when I was younger, and I think one of my friends, I was possibly in my early 20s, and he asked me a question, said, what's your goal in life? I said, what goal? I mean, we are just having, just living a life, you know. And little did I realize that point of time how important it is to have a goal in life. And I think those lessons that you've given are very valuable to us, and I'm sure the young people in our firm would really benefit with your exposition of the key aspects that you brought out today as the lessons for all of us. I think personally, if you ask me, the goals that you set for yourself are truly inspiring. And I think what I really liked is your ability in reaching out to the society is really humbling. And some of the goals that you really put is beyond, the financial goals that normally one would set for themselves. It's about providing jobs, about adding value to the nation as a whole. I think they are phenomenal goals. I think truly inspiring for all of us to really also learn from you. And I think one thing I must say that I really liked your suggestion is the power of reading books. That you mentioned. I remember this of also Bill Gates, that wherever he goes with a pile of books. He takes a handbag bag with him, and he is constantly reading. And I think all of the great people I have read about, each of them spend more or less than 2 hours every day in reading beyond what their subjects are. And I think that's a great learning that we all carry as individuals all through our lives. So, Dr. Mansingh, in a nutshell, I think it's been great to have you with us. We are truly honored to have you with us today. and learned a lot from you. And I'm hoping that we'll get the privilege of having you to host you again, and also learn something more from you with more insights. I wanted to ask a question, but I never got around to doing it. But maybe I'll save it for the next time. But thank you very much for being with us, Dr. Mansingh, and also Devashish, to you also, to make this evening very fruitful for all of us. So thank you both of us, and enjoy this evening, all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr. Milind. We would love to meet face to face when the time
absolutely
permits.
Look forward to that.
And I enjoyed, and I hope every single person who attended this changes something in their life, 1 or 2 things. You don't have to pick all 6 or 7 ideas.
Right.
Just pick 1 or 2 ideas and you will be a different person 10 years down the road. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.